everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Ade here again. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ade and I film about faith, motherhood and lifestyle. I make videos from England, United Kingdom, so feel free, take the front seat. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. If you're an existing subscriber, thank you so much for your support, for your comments, for your likes, your shares, for everything. I honestly really appreciate. Thank you so much. Now in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my most embarrassing and hilarious moments. I'm already cringing even saying this, honestly. If this is something that you're interested in, please definitely keep on watching. So what actually inspired this video was I attended a retreat and we were asked to share our embarrassing moments, and I just I was just able to come up with a number of moments that were hilarious and embarrassing, and I just thought to myself, like, I'm actually going to come here to share. Okay, so the first embarrassing moment, this happened when I was pregnant with my son, and myself and my husband, we went maternity to clothes shopping. So we entered this store and I picked out a few outfits, and I just told him, okay, you just stay outside, let me try this, I'm gonna come out and you just tell me how it looks. Okay, so just so that I can get a second opinion. My brothers and my sisters, that's how I was wearing a wig actually. So I removed the wig and I tried on all of those outfits and I came out. It would check and tell me, okay, it's okay, it's this, is that. So anyway, we ended up choosing the outfits that I wanted to pick out. And when it was time for me to put on my wig, guess what? So this wig had a lace just like this. So it had a lace. It was a braided wig and it had a lace like this. And when I just like put it on, like everything just split, like it split into two. Like yeah, exactly what you're thinking. Everything. So imagine this splitting into two and everything is like this, like the Red Sea, you know, when the Red Sea parted, and this was it was so embarrassing that I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And the funny thing is that I wasn't wearing any wig cap. In fact, I don't like wearing wig caps under my wigs, and it was just very hilarious and embarrassing at the same time. So what I did was I just did like this. My husband picked the clothes, we paid, and I just did like this till we got home. Like, it was so embarrassing. So that is my first embarrassing moment. Second embarrassing moment, this one happened a while ago. So I think this was when I was still in secondary school, and this was when my uncle used to come home from London to Nigeria. He used to come home often, and this particular day he had his friend with him. So my uncle and his friend, they were staying at ours, and so this one I'll have to say it in Yoruba for it to make sense. In fact, if I don't say it in Yoruba, you probably would not get it. So anyway, so my uncle called me and he told me, so let me assume that his friend's name is Ade, and their other friend's name is Ola, something like that. So he told me in Yoruba, and he said, I'm gonna tell you what it means, okay? So he told me hey gosh, how did he say it? He said, okay, Loba Ade sọ fún pé kó fún ẹ ní ago Ọlá. That literally means, go and meet Ade, tell him to give you Ola's wristwatch. Ago in Yoruba means clock or wristwatch. So that was what I thought in my head, okay? Actually, what it meant was for me to go and meet his friend to collect their other friend's phone number. So sometimes in Yoruba, they refer to phone number as ago, which means clock. I don't understand how and why, but yeah, sometimes they do that. So my posh self, I carried myself and I decided to express myself in English language, and I told him that my uncle said you should give me Uncle Ola's wristwatch. and looked at me like, wristwatch. Wristwatch. It was like, oh, I go phone number. I'm like, yeah. Oh my goodness. Like, it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. Like, I had no idea that it was referring to wristwatch. And sorry, it was referring to phone number and not wristwatch. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I'll move on to the next one. This one is so embarrassing. Like, it is so embarrassing. Okay, so this happened when I was in my third year. Was it third year? Yeah, I think yes, my third year in university. And my bunkmate, so when we were in school, we used to like share a bunk. So my bunkmate, she was looking at a picture on our phone, and some of our friends were there. Oh my god, I can't believe this happens, honestly. So anyway, so some of our friends, who, my son is the one screaming in the background, okay, please just ignore him, okay. Anyway, so some of our friends were there, and she brought up a picture of Dele Muhammadu. I don't know if you know this person. Like, I've never seen this man before this situation happened. So I've never seen him before. Like, I've never heard of him before. And they were talking, and I think I now sat beside her, and I'm like, oh, Bunky. So you refer to your bunkmate as Bunky? Okay, I hope you're learning something. Anyway, so I sat beside her. I'm like, oh, Bunky, is that your dad? And she just stylishly matched me because our friends were there, and they all knew that, seriously, this is Dele Muhammad. I think he's like a senator or a politician or something like that. I'm not very sure. So she now stylishly matched me, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So I think when they left, she was not telling me that, Bunky, no, that's Dele Muhammad. I'm like, oh, so it's not your dad. Oh my goodness, like I felt like entering the ground. Like, I was so embarrassed. You can imagine what those girls would have been thinking in their head. Like, seriously, you don't even know anything. Anyway, so that's another one. The next embarrassing moment, this happened when I was in the UK. This was when I came here to study, and I was doing my internship. I think I mentioned this in my video of when I was reacting to my throwback pictures. So I was doing my internship, and I was actually a business intern. So my role was to get funding applications for the organization, book halls, and things like that. So I was supposed to book a hall for an event, or check the availability of a particular hall for the event we wanted to hold. And my manager had told me that I should ask how much the deposit was, and I was on phone, and I was like, okay. So I was speaking with the lady on phone. I'm like, okay, so how much is the deposit? And she was like, sorry. I said, yes, I mean, how much is the deposit? She was like, oh, I don't know what you mean. I said, no, I mean, how much is the deposit? And so someone from inside the office just quickly ran to me, and she was like, no, it's not deposit, it's deposit. I'm like, hey, English. That's how I just quickly corrected myself, and I'm like, oh, I mean, how much is the deposit? And she was like, oh, okay, it's £50 or £60. I can't even remember how much. Like, I was so ashamed of myself. I was so embarrassed. I'm like, oh my goodness, how did I not know that it is deposit and not deposit? Like, whew, that was embarrassing, but it was not so embarrassing, but it was embarrassing, okay? The last embarrassing moment, this one happened when, again, in the video I shared my throwback pictures, I reacted to my throwback pictures, I mentioned that an embarrassing moment happened when we stopped over at Dubai. If you've not seen that video, I'll link it in the description box and on the iCard, so you could go watch it. And what happened there was, so when we stopped over at Dubai, and I think we had to wait for about maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 hours, I really can't remember, before we continued our journey to the UK. And I was so pressed. Like, I was so, my bladder was full, okay? So we were on this very, very long queue, and so obviously we're queuing to enter the toilet, and this queue was so long. So when I noticed that, so they were like, I think they were like 2 or 3 toilets where you could just enter and ease yourself and everything. And then I noticed that everyone was entering like the other ones, and no one was entering a particular room where you can just go and just ease yourself. I'm like, why is nobody entering this toilet? Like, why is, how can they queue? Like, these people are mumu, like you can see that there's an empty one. Why don't you just enter it? And when it was like, when it was like six people before me, I just decided like I'm just gonna enter that. And guess what happened when I entered? It was the shower. I'm like, oh my goodness, like this makes sense now. Like the people were not entering that place because it's a shower and not a toilet. Like I was so embarrassed. Like I was so embarrassed. Like I thought to myself, like, do I let down my trousers and just squat and do something? There was no tissue. And, oh my god, I was so embarrassed. Like I just literally did as if, so what I did to save myself was I opened the shower and I just allowed the water to fall so that people passing by would know that maybe this person is using the shower, you know. So, and then I locked it, and then I came out, and then I was just waving my hand like this to make it look as if I actually used the shower. And guess what? I was still so pressed, and the line even grew longer, so I couldn't like I couldn't queue. I couldn't go back to the queue. Like it was just so embarrassing for me. So I think what happened that day was just I just held the pee until we got on the next flight, and the next thing that happened was I went to use the restroom in the lavatory in the plane. And yeah, so that's how that happened. I hope you've enjoyed my most hilarious and embarrassing moments. Please let me know yours in the comment section. I would love to hear yours as well. If you've enjoyed this video, please definitely give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe if you've not already. And yeah, I will see you in my next one. Continue to stay blessed, stay safe, and stay in God. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.